places in this country that Google Maps won't show you. Glitches in the satellite data, blank spots in the forest. Most people think it is just an error, but the locals know better. They know that some places are hidden for a reason. In the deep woods of Tennessee, near the border of the Smoky Mountains, there is a legend about a place called Blackwood Hollow. They say it was a commune from the 1800s, cut off from the rest of the world, isolated by choice. The rumor says there is a sign at the entrance just before an old tunnel. It doesn't say keep out. It says something much worse. The Constitution of the United States does not apply here. I thought it was just a story to scare tourists. My name is Jay. I am an urban explorer. I have been to abandoned asylums, forgotten factories, even the catacombs in Paris. I don't get scared easily. So when I heard about Blackwood Hollow, I had to see it. I packed my gear, camera, flashlights, extra battery, bear spray. I drove my Jeep for hours off the main highway. The paved roads turned to gravel, and the gravel turned to dirt. The GPS on my phone died an hour ago. No service. I was navigating by an old paper map I printed from a forum. The trees were getting thicker, blocking out the sun. It felt like the forest was closing in on me. The road ended abruptly. A massive fallen oak tree blocked the path. I couldn't drive any further. I checked the map. If the coordinates were right, the entrance was only a mile hike north. I grabbed my backpack and stepped into the woods. The first thing I noticed was the smell. It didn't smell like pine or earth. It smelled like stagnant water and copper, like old blood. The air was heavy, humid. It stuck to my skin like sweat. The second thing I noticed was the silence. No birds, no insects, nothing. Forests are never this quiet. Usually, you hear life, but here, it felt like nature itself was holding its breath. After 20 minutes of hiking, I saw it, buried in the side of a hill, overgrown with ivy, a concrete tunnel. Dark, wet, and menacing. It looked like a mouth waiting to swallow me, and there it was. Just like the legend said, a rusted metal sign, bolted to the concrete, bullet holes in it. The white paint was peeling, but I could still read the black letters. State law ends here. I stood there for a long time, staring at that sign. My brain was telling me to turn around. Every instinct I had was screaming danger, but my curiosity was louder. I pulled out my flashlight, and I walked into the dark. The tunnel was freezing. Water dripped from the ceiling, echoing in the darkness. Plip, plop. My footsteps crunched on broken glass. Or maybe it was bones. I didn't want to look down to check. The walls were covered in graffiti, but not the usual tags. No names, no dates, just symbols, weird geometric shapes, and eyes. Hundreds of eyes drawn in red paint, staring at me as I walked. The tunnel was long, maybe half a mile. When I finally saw light at the end, I ran toward it. I burst out into the fresh air. gasping. But what I saw stopped me cold. I wasn't in the forest anymore. It was a valley, hidden by steep cliffs on all sides, and in the center was a village, wooden houses, maybe 20 of them. They looked old, rotting, but they didn't look abandoned. There was smoke coming from a chimney. I saw laundry hanging on a line, but the clothes looked strange, old-fashioned, like rags. There were no cars, no power lines. It was like I had walked into a time warp. I crept closer. Staying in the tree line, I took out my camera and zoomed in. I saw something in the center of the village, a square. There was a structure there, a wooden platform, stained dark red. I moved toward the nearest house. The window was broken. I peeked inside. It was a mess. Furniture overturned, but on the table there was a plate of food. Rotting meat covered in flies. Someone had been eating here recently. I saw a book on the floor, leather-bound. I reached through the window and grabbed it. It was a diary. The pages were yellow and brittle. I opened it to a random page. The handwriting was frantic, jagged. I read the entry. They brought another one today, an outsider. He was screaming, but Father said it is necessary. The soil needs blood, or the harvest will fail. We are the keepers of the old way. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a ghost town. It was a cult, or something worse. And they were still here. I dropped the book. I needed to leave. No. Crack! A twig snapped behind me. He spun around, about 50 yards away. Standing near the trees was a man. He was wearing dirty overalls. No shirt. His skin was gray and leathery. He wasn't holding a weapon. He was holding a sickle, a farming tool. He didn't yell. He didn't run. He just stared at me. Then he let out a whistle, high and sharp, like a bird call from the village. Other whistles answered. 1, 2, 10. Suddenly, doors started opening. People were pouring out of the houses. Silent, moving in unison. They were all looking at me. Men, women, even children. But their eyes, they were vacant, empty, and they were all holding tools. Axes, hammers, knives. Run! My brain screamed. I turned and sprinted back toward the tunnel. My boots slammed against the mud behind me. I heard them, not shouting, just the thud of running feet. Dozens of them. I am fit. I run marathons. But these people were fast, inhumanly fast. I could hear their breathing, animalistic panting. I didn't dare look back. I knew if I tripped. I saw the tunnel entrance ahead, my only way out. But as I got closer, I saw something that made me sick. The man I saw first, the one with the sickle. He had circled around through the woods. He was blocking the tunnel. He stood in the center of the entrance, smiling. His teeth were filed to points. Sharp teeth. He raised the sickle. I had two choices. Fight him or let the mob behind me catch up. I pulled out my bear spray. It was my only weapon. I didn't slow down. Primera escriamez. Apray mal roar and charged straight at him. He swung the sickle, aiming for my neck. I didn't stop to check on him. I ran into the tunnel. The darkness swallowed me. I turned on my flashlight, the beam shaking violently. Behind me, the mob had reached the entrance. Their screams echoed in the concrete tube. They were in the tunnel with me. I could hear their bare feet slapping the wet floor. Get him. Don't let the offering escape. Their voices were distorted by the echo, sounding like demons. The half-mile felt like 10. My lungs were burning. My legs felt like jelly. I saw the light of the other side, the real world, the sane world. I pushed myself harder, my heart hammering against my ribs. I burst out of the tunnel, back into the normal forest. I didn't stop. I scrambled over the fallen oak tree, tearing my jeans, cutting my hands. I ran to my Jeep, fumbling for my keys. I dropped the keys in the dirt. Come on. Come on. I snatched them up, unlocked the door. Humpadin. I locked the doors just as a hand slammed against the window. A bloody. And I started the engine, put it in reverse, and floored it. The tires spun in the mud, then gripped. I flew backward down the dirt road. I saw them in my headlights, standing at the edge of the wood, watching me go. I drove for 3 hours without stopping. I didn't stop shaking until I reached a gas station on the highway. I never went to the police. Who would believe me? A hidden village, a cult, state law ends here. But sometimes, at night, I get phone calls from a blocked number. Nobody speaks. I just hear whistling that high. Sharp bird call. They know who I am, and I think they are looking for me.